They are gone. The chickens that transformed my son's speech are gone. From being nonverbal with only speaking 2-word sentences at the age of 3, my son went to speaking a whole 7-word sentences the same day we got them. But no longer having them around affected me more than I was willing to admit, and probably more than anyone else in the family. Sorry, I've got the sniffles, guys. In May, I received a call from our landlord informing me that there was an anonymous complaint about our chickens. The reason we got them in the first place was due to the price hike of dogs during the pandemic and discovering that chickens are actually used for speech therapy. Our chickens were great, and I have this story to prove it. These chickens did not only transform my son's speech, but also impacted him on so many other levels as well. Being compassionate and careful when picking them up and putting them back down again. Respect and responsibility are other factors they were able to teach my son. If you're not already aware, my son was diagnosed with autism in the midst of the pandemic after his development checkup pre-pandemic, where his delay in speech was flagged. There were many challenges that we as parents had to adapt and learn how to deal with. One of them was changing my son into day clothes that would normally turn into a real fight and often escalate to a meltdown. The chickens made our lives as parents so much easier as we introduced the rule to our children that in order to go outside and see them, we need to wear our day clothes. And actually, that worked so well. No fighting, no arguing, absolute bliss. Coming back to the complaint though, we have a great little community here with a friendly Facebook group for those in the community to join in order to share about the news, events, and anything relevant. I had a gut feeling though, and contacted the person I got the chickens from to ask her if she would be happy for me to return them back to her. As I put the chickens into the box and ready to go, I hit post on our Facebook group to make our neighbors aware that we didn't just get our chickens for the sake of it, but also that despite there not being any obligation for us, returning them to keep the peace within the neighborhood. In retrospect, I would have maybe done things a lot different, but anyway. Soon comments started rolling in particular by the one person who seemed proud to have been one of the collective people who have made the complaint. They explained of how they were forced to get rid of their rabbits that were housed in a hutch outside where rats had been gnawing on, which evidently was caused by our chickens. After a few back and forwards between us, it was clear to me that there was no reasoning with this person. I wished them well, and for me that was the end of it. But unfortunately, this conversation got so ugly after that, I actually had to remove the post completely in order to make a stop to the offensive messaging. But I don't know why this thread escalated so badly. Hey guys, I just wanted to jump on here, so sorry for the interruption, but this video I have recorded weeks and weeks ago, and the longer the video sits, the more likely you are not to post it, because you start questioning yourself and questioning what you are saying, the content, the how you say it, the fact that I was not looking my best, the fact that, I was not feeling my best. It was the best that I could do in the moment, in the environment, under the given circumstances. So I hope you will enjoy it anyway, and I hope to see you either at the end or the next one. Despite not having any obligation to remove the chickens, I did it anyway to keep the peace in the neighborhood. But in retrospect, I realized that this might have been a mistake, believing that it was a crucial step in my regress. Regress, the return to a former or less developed state. Let me explain. In March of this year, I purchased the audiobook 12 Rules for Life that I only just started listening to a few weeks ago. But pretty early into the book, I learn a truth that I had long forgotten, or at least was buried somewhere deep in my subconscious. There cannot be happiness in the absence of progress, and instead leads to chaos. To put it into context, in my previous video I gave account of how my mental health spiraled down following my return to the UK after giving my TEDx talk. I may have given the impression that this was primarily caused by the poor audio quality of my talk that was published on TEDx's YouTube channel, but I don't actually believe this to be the case. There were many factors that led to that transition, leaving me uninspired and unproductive, with complete paralysis of my creative ideas and thoughts that would normally come so naturally to me, which was eating me, or may I even say, killing me inside. I was just there, with my lost identity. The I am Thor that I know that I am, a slightly quirky, probably very awkward, analytical, loyal, devoted and overthinking person with big ambitions and dreams, who wakes up in the middle of the night with some of the craziest thoughts and ideas, having to run downstairs stark naked to make sure to record them in the notebook immediately, that should really be kept on the night table, was gone. I've spent a lot of time learning to embrace, appreciate and love these traits. My superpowers. Everyone has them, but for me it took a very long time to accept them as such. I love the ideas and solutions that my brain comes up with, and I thrive on them. Are they always productive in the sense of the moment? Probably not. But having lost that was a horrible sensation. It is a place I don't want to go back to. I'm definitely not where I want to be yet, but the important thing is that I'm back to making progress, which naturally is making me a lot happier. Writing has been a huge part of this transformation, and I've clearly been able to identify how that positively affected me. I believe that the reason for that is that it helps me focus my already very analytical mind from creating branches of fictional scenarios that very easily lead to the depressive state that I don't want to go back to. I have always enjoyed writing, to be honest, but I never had seen it as such a fundamental part that would keep me focused and in good spirit. And being able to turn my thoughts and feelings into online content, whether it is this video, my blog, Reels, TikToks, or even starting a podcast in the future, is really making me happy, knowing that I was able to do that. It allows me to look back and actually see the progress that I have made. At the same time, putting myself out there like this always comes at a risk. But I started out believing that being able to touch one life, encouraging and inspiring them, is going to be worth it. When I was in this deep hole, not feeling myself and uninspired to do anything, I felt very alone and I didn't know how or if I could even get out of it. And in the meantime, I was able to have some counseling sessions that have helped me understand myself a lot better. But unfortunately, because so many other people are struggling with their mental health, I somehow, don't ask me how, managed to rescue myself with a single thought while I was waiting for my counseling. I had to lose it all to realize. This thought became my inspiration, and for the first time in months, I was able to sit down and write. It's pretty much a repetition of what I had previously shared, but maybe from a different perspective, which reignited my inner spark and inspired me to get back up and create. Since then, there has been a lot of things happening. Revisiting my old boarding school that I had mentioned in previous video, which I will talk about in a dedicated video. The realization that everything I actually do is freaking awesome. And whilst I realize that this is quite a bold statement, again, I need to explain it in a separate and dedicated video. But there's still some significant challenges that I need to find ways to overcome, and I want to share that with you as well, as I'm finding it hard to keeping up appearances. Hopefully you will follow me along on this journey. In the meantime, here's the story that gave me back my joy. I'm Thor. Stay positive and stay motivated, and I shall see you in the next one.